In this first part of the test, I'd like to ask you questions about your education. Okay?
Yes. Okay.
What kind of school did you go to as a child?
As a child, I went to an all-girls school. It was only a girl that could go into this kind of school. So I have been there for 12 years, since the first grade until 12th grade. But I skipped, I think it's 11th grade, because I went to USA for an exchange student, to be an exchange student there for a year in Michigan City. I went to the Byron Center High School there for a year. Yes. And after that,
Good. Thank you. Good.
Okay.
So what was your favorite subject at school as a child?
As a child, I like biology the most, because I think it's very amazing when you got to study all of this, how you evolve and how each animal can like eat, or how they develop, how they grow up. Yeah, that's kind of my favorite thing.
Interesting. And who was your favorite teacher?
Back in the day, my favorite teacher was actually a physics teacher. She is very nice and very kind. She's very patient with her students. If you don't understand it for maybe it's like twice or third time that she says, she still keep going and try to teach you more. Yes.
Okay. So now I'd like to ask you some questions about movies. What is your favorite movie?
Right now, what I can think of is Black Panther. Black Panther, yes. I recently watched it last month with my friends, or maybe a couple weeks ago. We decided to watch this movie because the actor died last week. I can't remember his name though. No,
Okay,
no.
good.
So I was, yeah, we were
Thanks.
watching it.
Thanks. Okay. What kind of movies do you think younger people like these days?
Younger people these days, kids these days they grow so fast. I think they like the same kinds of movie that I like, which is the sci-fi movie. They did not watch a cartoon or the animation that much anymore. In my opinion, I think they kind of evolve quickly with their thoughts and their mind, so they kind of understand what going around them and understand a big picture of the world, bigger than us, than what we grow.
Okay, great. And do you want to be a movie star?
I never want to be a movie star. I actually never dreamed of being one, because because I was thinking that movie star have to be very pretty, or maybe they have to be very thin to be a movie star for people to to like their personality or their look,
All
and
right,
I'm not
good.
that pretty.
Thank you. So, in this part of the test, I'm going to give you a topic, and you need to talk
Mhm.
about it for 1 to 2 minutes. But before you start talking, you have a minute to prepare yourself. And you can make notes if you wish. Do you understand it?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to share my screen with you where you can see your topic. Can you see the topic?
Yes, I see.
All right. So here's your 1 minute. Please start preparing. All right. Are you ready?
Okay. Already.
Okay.
Ready.
Remember, you only need to talk for 1 to 2 minutes. So don't worry if I stop you in the middle. Okay? So please start speaking.
Um, the message that I received recently that is very important is the message that for an appointment, some guys going to deliver the washing machine for my house on Sundays. So um, I got this but I actually got this message from my dad because the delivery guy actually told my dad when he's going to came in and what time and what date. So my dad actually sent the text to me because it's my house and I he was saying that I need to be there or I need to be at home on Sunday at 3 p.m. Um, but after I got it, I called my boyfriend to make sure that he's going to be home at that time during that day because I actually have to work on Sunday, so I cannot be there at that time. So yeah, that is the important text.
Thank you so much. All right. So in this part of the test, I'm going to ask you some questions related to the subject we had. How do people in your country deliver important information?
Um, I think nowadays my country usually use Line's application to send in the information. It's almost like you texting them, but it's actually you have to go into an app called Line to send the message. Yeah.
Okay. So are traditional paper mails still valued in your country in the present day?
Oh, yes. It's still value because I think sometimes the bank still sending the mail, the paper mail to us to at home, but while they were sending the paper mails, they also sent an email. So most of the time we got to read that messages before the paper actually came to us.
All right, good. So have ways to communicate with each other changed in recent years?
In my opinion, definitely yes. Um, I think back in the day, we call each other. That is the fastest way to talk to other people. Well, no, not before, but recently. like right now we call each other to send important subject or to talk to each other. That is the quickest ways. But before that, I think it's the passenger or something. Page passenger. I don't know what it's called. But it's kind of like a small thing, the square thing that you have to call the operator to tell them what you want other people to know.
Sorry.
Uh-huh. So the operator has to type down and send that message to
Okay,
the.
good.
Oh, I think it's called pager. Yeah.
Good. So what are the advantages of sending messages using social applications?
Social application is much faster than any other ways of talking to each other, or except calling them though. But sometimes, you are not in the appropriate time to talk right now or to pick up the phone. So sending the messages to an app or on the phone, they can read it right away, but may or may not respond. So.
I see. And what kind of information you cannot communicate using text messages?
I could think about one topic that we cannot communicate through the texting about. The topic is about the king. We're not supposed to talk about him in any other ways, like in both way, good or bad. So that's kind of the law here in Thailand, that you're not supposed to talk about the king. So if you sending a text to other people about this topic, it could be evidence to caught you that you're talking about him. Yes.
All right, so I'm not going to ask a follow-up question about him.
Okay. Sorry.
This is the end of the test. Thank you so much. And this is the start of your feedback session. So look, this is your test report form, speaking report form. And I will describe your performance and give feedback on it. This is a review. About your fluency and coherence, you stand here, which is a representative of score 7. You speak at length without noticeable effort or loss of coherence. I made you happy by saying 7?
Yes.
What is okay. What is the score you're looking for? What is your target score?
I'm hoping to get 7 in total though.
So let's see if you get a 7 in total. I hope so. So you speak at length without noticeable effort or loss of coherence. That was a very good point about you, because I saw you, once you give an opinion, you don't stop there. You go to support it with reasons and explanations, which is a very good thing to do. And I saw that you have a lot of fillers. It means some fixed phrases that can help you fill the time that you need to take to think. Things like, right now, what I can think of is, this can help you buy time to think about what you want to say. So your fluency is good. I saw some hesitations, all right, but these hesitations were not bad, because I felt you were not looking for words or grammar. I felt you were looking for ideas rather than language, okay? And about the self-correction, remember, only correct the grammar or the vocabulary that you know how to correct. Even if you felt you said something wrong, but you don't know how to correct it, so forget about it. Let it go, okay? So, and you had a good range of connectives, and you used them flexibly. So my score for you in fluency and coherence is a 7.
Thank
About
you.
your lexical resource, you had a lot of good fixed phrases, which I really liked, like back in the days. Of course, it's not day, it's days, back in the days. Or you said the big picture. So these can really help you. Let me tell you about a research. A couple years ago, there was a research done on lexical differences between scores like 8 and 4. And research findings revealed that as you approach score 8, the speaker tries to use more fixed phrases and combinations rather than single words. So the more fixed phrases you use, the better score you get in terms of lexical resources. But what I didn't see so much was collocations. Take a look here. Look, if you want to get a 7, you need to use lexical resources flexibly. I felt you were there. You had it. But I didn't see less common words. I didn't see many idiomatic language. I didn't see awareness of style and collocation that much. You had, but not that much. Do you know what collocations are?
Mm-hmm.
The words that come together. And look, IELTS speaking topics are really limited, like around 30 important topics, like travel, friends, movie, education. So get yourself prepared by preparing some real good collocations, which are less common. Things like adjectives and nouns and verbs. So whenever I ask you some questions, instead of thinking about ideas, forget about ideas. Ideas are not important for the examiner. Think about words that you can use, the collocations. One other point I want to add to your lexical resources description is about paraphrase. Do you know what paraphrase is? Good.
Use another word.
Yeah. You need to paraphrase. You shouldn't simply repeat my question. Even if you want to buy time or understand the topic deeper, you shouldn't repeat it. You should paraphrase it. And synonym is not the only way to paraphrase. Sometimes you don't have a synonym to paraphrase, but you can use word form. What is word form? Things like response, respond, responsible, responsibly, responsibility. You can use them interchangeably. You can change the grammar, balance the structure. They seem to be different, but they share the root meaning. This is a good way to paraphrase. Another way to paraphrase in a more professional way is to use changing of word order. Like if your sentence has some words like 1, 2, 3, 4, you can change it in a way with 4, 2, 3, 1 if you can balance the grammar, of course. Like you can turn an active sentence to a passive one or vice versa. So these are ways to paraphrase. So your vocabulary, you had wide enough vocabulary. Everything you said was clear. A little bit of inappropriacy, and you generally paraphrased, but not effectively. So you're something between a 6 and a 7. So you'll fall into a 6.5. In terms of grammar, I'm sure you know more than what you displayed because you're fluent enough, and I think it is rooted in your knowledge of grammar and vocabulary. But unfortunately, you couldn't exhibit good grammar. You know, as the name tells us, the name of this criterion is grammatical range and accuracy. But you didn't show me a wide range of grammar. You should use simple, compound, complex sentences. Okay? For example, I'm sure you know how to make relative clauses using who or whom or which or that. I'm sure you know, but you didn't exhibit a lot of them. I'm sure you know if clauses, but I didn't hear anything about an if clause. Do you know what I mean? So
Yes.
how can you solve this problem? Remember, speaking questions, type of speaking questions are really limited. There are around 20 speaking question type. Some questions look for opinion. Some questions look for opinion plus reason. Some look for comparison contrast. Others look for speculating for the future, hypothesizing, and many more. You should know these questions and you should make pre-planned scenarios to answer those questions. For example, when I said, do you think or how do you think the way we communicate ideas uh, has changed? There was a question along those lines. When I ask you a question like this, I want you to give me some structures around comparison, contrast. So I was
Oh,
expecting some signals such as however, whereas, while, unlike, as opposed to, yet, at least a but. You know what I mean? So in
yes.
other words, the question tells you what to say and how to say it. You should learn to analyze the question. The question tells you how to say it. Let me give you another question. If the question says, what would you buy if you had $1 million? You know, the examiner really doesn't care if you buy a villa or a car or you spend your money on fast food. All right?
Mm-hmm.
The ideas are not important. The question is looking for a conditional type 2, hypothesizing. So what I'm expecting to hear is a conditional type 2, like I would, I could, I might buy a villa plus everything else. So remember, questions are designed with some target language in sight. To get a good score, work on that target language. Oh, something else about your grammar was about part 2. Remember, in part 2, when you have a card like this, it may seem a little bit confusing because you may think you need to talk about all the questions and you need to talk about all the questions in order. That's not true. There is a myth. It says you need to answer all the questions, but you don't. You don't need to answer all the questions on the card. These are just cue questions to help you come up with some ideas. So the best way I'm recommending you to do is to summarize all these questions into one main question, and that is, what happened? What happened? Means tell me a story about the topic and tell me what happened. So simply tell a story and sequence ideas. When you're sequencing ideas in part 2, the examiner is expecting you to use some signals of sequence, like first and then, after that, in the meantime, during this time, when I was doing this, while I was doing this, before she came. You understand me?
Mm-hmm.
All
Yes.
right. This takes us to another point I'm going to mention right now, which is about use of tenses. Remember, not always, but most of the time, the cue card in part 2 is about something in the past.
Mm,
And so
yes.
your tenses should be something in the past. But you had some examples of using present tense while you were telling something about the past. Okay? So for your grammar, I'll give you a 6. Could be better, but a 6 is enough for today. You should learn to use complex structures, okay? And
Mm-hmm.
even if you have some grammatical mistakes and they persist, if you show a range of complex structures with flexibility, you can get a 7. You don't have to be perfect to get a 7. Just show me range. So let's go to pronunciation now. Your pronunciation was really good compared to other Thai students
Oh, thank
I've
you.
seen. Yeah, some of them cannot pronounce individual sounds, but I guess you could. Can you pronounce this for me? Gold.
Gold.
It's better. It's actually much, much better. You know, uh, you have to work on individual sound L because it's not part of your culture. But if you want to speak in English, there are a lot of words with L, like blue, L, all right, gold. So work on it. But about your pronunciation, I really liked your pronunciation, and you used a good range of pronunciation features.
Mhm.
You had some problems with stress patterns. You have to work on where the stress comes on which syllable. And you were understood throughout. I really liked it. You had some mispronunciations of individual words, but your clarity was good. And I can say that your L1 accent, your Thai accent, has minimal effect on understanding you. And I really liked it. So
Mhm.
what I want to put you at is actually a 7 for
Oh, I thought you're
pronunciation.
gonna put me in 8.
You're between an 8 and a 6, which will give you a 7 for pronunciation and a 6
Okay.
for this.
Mhm.
So you'll fall to a 6.5, which I believe is really good. I think you don't need more than a month to get a good score 7. You only have to work on your collocations,
Mhm.
and you have to work on how to show me the grammar that you know. Okay?
Okay.
Remember, don't lose yourself in producing ideas to answer the questions. The quality of ideas is not really important. I don't care if you give me a very interesting idea or you say something which is absolutely wrong, or even you tell me a lie. Try to use language. Okay?
Okay.
So I will fill
Okay.
in this form for you. Okay? I will fill in
Mhm.
this form. I'll tell you which areas in a specific you need to work on. I will write it here. And here I will introduce you some books, online resources to refer to. Okay?
Okay.
Good. Now, do you have any questions?
Uh, no, no more questions.
So, thank you
Well,
very
yeah.
much.
Okay. Thank you very much.
I wish you luck. Bye-bye.
Bye.